Hey there, YouTubers. So in this video we're going to compare using CPU power with a 1x8 and a 1x8 and a 1x4 with the i5 12600K. Now let me just bring this up so I can point some things out. Using OBS to record. This will affect the benchmark somewhat on here, but this really isn't about that aspect. It's about if we see any significant changes in power that is used both at the plug. Okay, so what I have is a camera that is pointed at this device, portable battery. I also have one that I could do in the plug, but it's just easier to use this one because I can put it on the desk. You can probably behind it see the screen, but this is telling you right now 89 watts. So we'll see this vary. Okay, this is how long this would last on battery power. You don't really need to know care about that aspect. And then this is how much is left on the battery right now, 88-89%. So that's that part. We'll do two benchmarks. We'll do XTU, we'll do Cinebench R20, and hopefully you'll get the information you want to see. Now I'm going to run this both of these right now, 1x8 hooked up, and let's talk about the computer that we're using before we run this. I need to make sure I clear out all the information on here. So i5 12600K, ASRock Z690 Pro RS motherboard. We are currently using the Intel UHD graphics 770. I've removed the graphics card just so it does not suck up the juice more out of the battery. 32 gigs of RAM, if that matters. We are using a 1 terabyte solid state NVMe M.2. Not really matters for this, but you know, some of you might care. Let's go in here, clear this out, clearing out the data. Oh, by the way, let's see, 120 millimeter Noctua CPU cooler. Yeah, some of you might care about that because you are going to see some temps here. All right, benchmarking. So right now, you know, it's actually running a little hotter. Might be because of the internal graphics. Plus, we are recording, so that might factor in. Probably does, right? All right, let's go ahead and hit it. So you see the wattage going up to 190 from where it was at. So that's at the plug, right? And then the CPU itself is saying, oh, we got package TDP 113, core TDP 109 was the recent max. Hitting 192, 194, and it's about done. It's dropping off, boom, rapidly. So let's just go over these again. 113, 109, graphics TDP. All right, so that's the first aspect of this. Now, did we write any of this information down, folks? No, we did not. You may have to actually remember this stuff yourself. I may forget. Actually, the one that I'm going to remember, folks, is I saw 194. I think that was as hot as it got on a 1x8. So I'm going to write that down real quick. So we'll also do Cinebench. Let's get that going. If I can find Cinebench. There it is. So I'm going to minimize this. It should go pretty quick. The R20s takes way less time than the R23 does. All right, 201, 202. Oh yeah, the other thing I was going to do, folks, when we switch over, actually, we're going to have to do this a bunch of times. We need to run this with power limits unlimited. And it looks like it's done, folks. Just in case you care what the benchmark is with this stuff going on. That's a little, I think that's a little low for it. Yeah, don't really be concerned about the actual scores. There's a lot of crap going on. Recording, Intel XDU's on. So that's not helping the benchmark score, but we're not really doing this for benchmark scores. All right, so that's that. Right now, I'm so tempted to run Speed Optimizer. I'll do that in another video. All right, so is this PL1? PL1. We're going all the way, okay? Boom. You know, before I do that, what was our recent maxes here? 120 and 115, okay? I'm not really that concerned about these numbers because I'm tracking what's at the plug, but some of you will care, so that's what we got there. All right, this did not increase. Now let's clear this out. We're doing power limits unlimited. Usually sucks up more juice. Okay, I'm taking notes here. I can summarize this later for y'all. Let's see, power limits unlimited, and let's go to benchmark. Let's bench 156, 189, 191. I'll be surprised if we don't get higher. If we don't get higher, it means something happened. 189. Wow. Did that happen to thermal throttle, folks? I didn't even check if the score was higher. Let's see. Not thermal throttle, but power limit throttle. Nope. We were all good. I did not write this information down. But let's do this one again. Let's let it cool off. Kind of feel like we might be missing some stuff here. All right. Looks like it's not going to get down to 35 like it normally does. We're going to run this again. $186, $185. Not getting any hotter. It's almost done. These temps, just for those that care, 113, or these wattages, 110. Huh. All right, clearing this out. Let's let it cool off a little bit. Then we'll run Cinebench again. Then after that, folks, we reboot the computer. I plug in the extra 1x4, and we show what we get. I should have probably wrote these scores down. Well, then again, once again, scores don't matter, right? We got too much stuff going on. All right, let's run Cinebench. We will see this score though, 5331. See if we can beat it. Power limit's unlimited. $155, $203. That was as high as I got last time. $203. Did anybody see anything higher? $204, $203, $204. Probably did $204 in the last one. I missed it, but I'm not getting any higher. While that's doing its thing, 119 here, 114, 203 again. Doesn't look like it's getting any higher. Oh, 204. Back 204. Staying at 204. Now it just dropped. Alright. Surprisingly, it didn't keep the score from the last time up. Alright, that is that's what we got so far, folks. I'm gonna go ahead and restart the computer, and I have to. Alright, folks, we're back. I have done the additional 1x8, or excuse me, the additional 1x4. So we now have CPU power 1x8 and a 1x4. So we are going to pull up, if I can find it, Dell XTU, and we check our settings, see where we're at. And it's tuning, so this did not default back to what it's supposed to be at, which is either somewhere around 125, 135. I'm just going to put it at 135, match what I had it at. Okay, and then this guy is 241. Okay, so here we are. Clear this out. Oh, excuse me. And we can do the benchmark. Now, just rewind. The hottest this got with XTU was 194. Second time was 186. No real explanation why that was. All right, hit and run. Temp over here 190. $192. See 111. Okay, highest I saw was 192. 92. It's almost done. Okay. Got to write this down. So 192 watts. Slightly more than what? The last time we did this. And our benchmark was less, but that's because of the power limits. We're not at unlimited, most likely. All right, let's go ahead and get XTU going. Not XTU, Cinebench, folks. Cinebench. Let me let this cool off a little bit more. So ideally we, you know, sit here longer than we are. And ideally I'd have even better CPU cooler on this thing. All right. Doesn't look like it's going to drop down anymore, folks. You know, I'm thinking of replacing my single Noctua fan with the high performance one. Anybody got one of those out there? You know, I know this doesn't do as good, obviously, as the 140 millimeter because I have both. I have a ton of. Oh, we're missing the action, folks. 199, 200, 200. Run these over so you guys can see those. Looks like 200 was where it went. Going back up again, 200, back down. So last time we got 203 and 204. I mean, well, when we had default settings, we got 203. So we're less wattage, and it's done. Our score. And then that score is not very good if the i5-12400F is right there. So we'll let this cool off. Actually, let me close this. We're going to boost everything. Oh, I didn't give you guys these numbers. 117, 112. All right, I'm clearing it. So, you know, ideally we would do this a bunch of times and kind of average it out, but, you know, at least 3 times, right? Try and do a scientific test here. I'm betting this is going to be higher than it's ever been. Now, have I been wrong before? Yes. Plenty of times. Plenty of times I have disappointed myself. Alright, it is not cooling down anymore, folks. Most likely it's because it's recording. Yeah. Alright, let's go ahead and hit this. XTU power limits to unlimited. Temperature, well, excuse me, wattage 188, 186. Doesn't look like it's going to get any higher. 189, 190. 190 is the highest. It's almost over, so it's probably not going to get up there anymore. 190 again, and done. 54.93. So it did do better on the benchmark, but that is not the best benchmark. Which is interesting. Let's see what we got over here. These go up any? 113. These didn't even go up. Well, what are you gonna do, you know? Can't get this thing any cooler. Alright, so we gotta open up Cinebench again. So there's our last Cinebench score. It actually stored it this time. And our temperature is not dropping. You know, if I was gonna figure anything out in this video, why we're not getting consistent results, it's got to be the CPU temperature. All right, it is probably as low as it's going to get. At least it's bouncing around. So we'll hit this and watch our power go up. 198, 197, 199, 199 again. It is not, just does not want to go up any higher, folks. Makes me wonder if my cables... Oh, we got 200. We tied the last one. $201. And it's done. So I hate to count that 201, but it did do it. Let's see what these got to. 117, 112. Score was, oops. Score increased to 5001, which isn't that good. Well, you know, this almost feels kind of inconclusive, folks. It's the only thing we can do now, just because we can. Let's run this optimize now thing, see what it does. New all core frequency. Whoa, right. Now let's clear this out. Let's see if we get a little hotter. Then again, what do we have to compare to, right? We're running it. Should get hotter. 218. $217. So this may be where we actually need the 1x8 and the 1x4. Do we go back and redo this? So I saw what, 218? And it's done, but what a huge jump in score. That is incredible. And then we have 218 we got to. I might just have to use this more often. Intel Speed Optimizer. So we're working backwards on this one, folks. I'm going to unplug the 1x4 after we run one more thing. We're going to run Cinebench. We should do even better here. Oh, hang on, before I do that, what did we get here, folks? 141, 137. Wow, big jumps. This stayed at 4. Oh, pretty impressive. You know what? The one thing this did that I don't like, it doesn't give you the temperature. Like, all right, here we go. And I got to be ready to pay attention. Okay, 121, 150, 220. Okay, that's already higher than 225, 226. 228. Here's these values. 228. 228 is the highest I saw. Back to 228 again. $228. Should be getting close to finishing, folks. What are these? 229. 229. Can we get 230? 143 here. 148. So 229, and it's done. Wow. That is a huge difference. All right, so now we've got to go back and remove the 1x4 and see if it actually used more power. And then what was the temperatures this thing's seeing? 81, so it's definitely getting hotter. Might be time for a all right, folks, finishing this up. Let's get, thought I had pulled up XTU. There it is. Let's make sure we got audio working, recording, good. So let's get this out of the way. You know, one thing I didn't say is we've got a semi-modular EVGA 850 BQ power supply. So a lot of times you'll find at the 750, 850, and usually I think it's semi-modular or fully modular, you'll find the extra CPU connectors. All right, so what are we doing, folks? What are we gonna do now? We unplugged the 1x4, so we're kind of going backwards. We're gonna see what kind of wattage this thing draws, if it's gonna hit the numbers from the last time. And they were the biggest numbers we've seen. We also need to make sure that speed optimizer turn off, so it is still on. Let's go ahead and run the benchmark over here so we can see this one. Well, actually it's down here. It'll show us down here. So let's go ahead and run it. Here we go. 116, 216. So as long as this thing doesn't get to 218, nope, yeah, looks like it's gonna just about gonna get there. So for this CPU, unless you go really ridiculous with your overclock, the extra 1x4 doesn't matter. 199. So I saw 217. Then we got a score of 5905, which is actually our highest score. Probably because the CPU is cooler. Let me just write this stuff down so we don't miss it when we summarize later. So we only have 1x8 now. I saw 217 for XTU, and then we had a score of 5905, which was higher than the last time. That was I think that was our best score yet. Now we're going to run Cinebench, and if we get about the same wattage, then that means basically it's not doing anything for us. All right, pull this up. $5,001 was the last score. I didn't write that down. All right, here we go. 97, 141, 174, 226, 227, 228. That doesn't quite match what they had, or what we had before. 229 matched it. Been funny if it drew more power. $229, and it's dropping. And our score was 5386. Go figure. Go figure that one out. All right. So to summarize, we did a bunch of different benchmarks. We did different settings, default settings, power limits to unlimited. We did the speed optimizer, which was an overclock on a CPU. The i5 12600K. We did not do a really serious overclock, which in that case, yeah, I have no doubt that you need the extra 1x4. But you know, that's basically for what most of you out there are doing. You probably do not need a power supply that has the additional 1x4. For that matter, I don't think there's a single Z690 out there motherboard that doesn't have the 1x8 and the 1x4 unless it's an ITX. So ASRock most likely will have a cheap ITX motherboard at some point, Z690i. That motherboard, you know, will probably have 1x8. So if you're not going to go crazy with the overclocking, probably not missing out on anything. Now this is also, you know, the i5s. If we had an i7 12700K or i9 12900K, this could be a totally different story, right? But i5 12600K is what it is. So I think, you know, this kind of matches a bit with the i5 12400F. I had wondered, you know, is that thing even worth having? Do you need an extra 1x8 or 1x4 with it? That would appear to be a definite no. The i7 12700F is questionable now. I'm starting to second guess myself. And the i9 12900F, that one is most likely a yes. So, or 12900. Thanks for checking out the video. Hope you got something out of it.